This is King Cruff, and you're tuned into World Music Views.
So what going, boss?
I'm here, JR. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to the music industry.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Trust me.
Although you're born into music, right?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely true.
So tell us who you are, where you from.
So my name is Solomon, aka King Cruff. I was born in London, Ontario, which is a city 2 hours away from Toronto, and I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, on Skyline Drive. Which, if you do music in Jamaica, you know Skyline Drive, you know Skyline Levels. Everybody knows the view. You shouldn't go up there during New Year's Day because it's always ram. And yes, and of course, what everybody knows as well is the bloodline is blessed forever. I come from the Marley family. You know what I mean? That's where I saw my first piece of music. My first inspirations was my aunties and my uncles, and of course my grandfather. So yeah, man, bless it. You know what I mean?
So let's get an idea what era you were born in and what era you grew up in. How old are you?
I'm 26.
So you were born in the millennium. Like you born after in like late 90s, right?
I was born in 97. Yeah, so I just made the 90s baby list.
And you saw your uncles going on tour. At that time, I believe the Melody Makers were touring. Junior Gong, well, Junior Gong is who you would have seen because you'd have come of age in like 2001, right?
Right.
And Junior Gong, where you get your inspiration from to do music?
To do my inspiration from music, honestly, and of course I saw all of them doing their thing. Like I have very fond memories of going to Reggae Songfest like as a youth and seeing my family do their thing. Like the first instance of me seeing what a performance was from my uncles, you know what I mean? And my aunties. But I feel like my inspiration from music comes from something a little bit different. I think it comes from just growing up and having these stories and wanted to document these stories, but in a way that people could really take them in and relate to them. You know what I mean? I feel like having these stories be relatable was very big to me. So for a long time, music wasn't even on my radar, to be honest. Like for a long time, I was like, the family has a lot of musicians. I could try and do something different. But as time went on, and I'm just the type of creative to try everything, I eventually tried music with some friends, and that kind of sparked something for me, you know?
So who's your mother? Tell them who's your mother.
My mother is Stephanie Marley, who you ran into the other day.
In a serendipitous moment, first time meeting her, and very, very cool lady. And she told me, we were talking about your name, right? King Cruff. What does King Cruff mean? Because when you just hear Cruff, you're like, Cruff, Marley, Cruff. Like, let's know what Cruff means. And who is King Cruff?
So Cruff, as you all know, is not a very nice word back home. You know what I mean? It's something that you call somebody who don't really have no style or any ambition or any vision. Um, but people used to call me that when I was younger. And I feel like people used to call me that mostly on an optics level. They used to call me that based on what they saw. They didn't really call me that based on what they knew about me or the ideas that I had or the type of person that I wanted to be. And I feel like the people that did take that time to learn that would be like, hold on, wait a second. Like, this kid's smart. This kid's ambitious. This kid wants to do something. You know what I mean? And they could see the king in me. So just as a little juxtaposition and just as a little joke, because they didn't really start out as a joke at first, I started calling myself King Cruff, and as time went on, it began to get its own meaning of you can have the potential to be the best of your ability and the worst of your ability at the same time. So that's where King Cruff comes from.
Oh, that makes sense. You turn a bad thing into a good thing. I get it. I get it now. I get it now. You kind of deactivated what they were trying to do to you and empowered yourself with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's wicked. That's wicked. I got some respect for you with that because that's what you got to do. Flip it on them, and then they have to call you that now for real because it's you on TV.
I met people ask questions. You know what I mean? I want people to be able to question like you did. Like, why this brother really call himself a Cruff? Especially when people meet me, because then they meet me and they're like, wait, but this is actually a good youth. You know what I mean? Like, this is actually a good person.
But your real name is Solomon, which is a biblical name. You also embody that name.
I tried to, you know what I mean? Like, because as you all know, Solomon was the wisest man. Everyone reminded me of that as a kid. I've heard the song a million times. But I feel like with me, I try to learn. You know what I mean? I try to hold meditations regularly. I try to think about my position in the world. And I think the most important thing that I've ever heard, Royce the 5'9" said it, who I'm a big fan of, and I'm sure it came from somewhere else. But the wise man knows that he knows nothing. You know what I mean? So it's always a learning experience. It's always, what do I not know that I can try and fill that gap of my knowledge?
What is the music scene like in Canada, where you're from?
Mm-hmm. So I feel like that question is kind of double layered because I live in London, Ontario, but I work in Toronto, Ontario, and everybody knows Toronto. You know what I mean? That's like the mega city in Canada, and it's very interesting, man. I think I honestly do say that Toronto has some of the most talented people in the world because there's so many different styles and everyone's on a hustle level. I feel like if you're in Canada, the hustle level is different. You know what I mean? Because there's only so many opportunities. It's changed a lot since back in the day, but there's only so many opportunities. So everyone's really trying to show out and be the one. But what I see right now in Toronto, especially on the younger level of people, the artists who are just coming out, is a huge sense of community, bro, and a huge sense of you do this, you do that. I don't really care about genre. Let's get in the studio, let's work. You see me? My brethren Dice just hit me up and say, "Yo, bro, tell me when you're back in Toronto so we can do some work." So there's a lot of hunger and there's a lot of different styles out there.
Are you signed to a record label?
I am signed to a record label. I'm signed to Tough Gun Collective, big up Tough Gun, and I'm signed to Universal Music Canada, big up UMC every time.
So Universal Music Canada. Universal is who now owns Bob Marley's music, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? What was that like making the decision to go with Universal?
You know what? I feel like in the moment it was a game changer, man. Like I still remember when I got the email asking if I wanted to be a part of it because I didn't really expect it. To be honest with you, I
What
didn't
year
know
was that? When was that?
that was the end of 2021, the end of 2021. Yes. And I remember, bro, because I was at work, I was doing some construction job, I was pouring concrete, and that was a hard job, man. That was a hard job. And I remember walking into my car and I was talking to my brother, and I was like, bro, you know what, dog? Like, this job's cool and all, but one of these days, music is really good. Music is what I want to do. And I opened my email and I see the offer, you know what I mean? Not the full offer, but just the offer of like, hey, we're interested. And I remember my brother look at that and he look at me and said, bro, you're about to be a superstar. And it was a lot of conversations, a lot of deliberating, but I feel like I made the right choice in the end. You know what I mean? I'm very grateful for Stella Marley who saw the potential and was the one that reached out. And yeah, man, I'm very grateful for the UMC team who has taken this task of developing an artist very, very seriously.
And you're going through the development stages now. And are you finding that labels are doing a lot of that, or your case is very unique?
What have you been doing? Are you saying they're doing a lot?
Artist development. Are they just looking for the TikTok hit and go, or they're looking for artists that they can take step by step by step and build?
I feel like it's all situational, you know, because it definitely happens where labels see the TikTok hit and they're like, oh, let's grab for this person and grab for this person. I think we see a lot of that. And I think that's really affected the music industry in a way that like people are starting to notice, you know, coming out of the TikTok boom. But I also do see, especially with UMC's case, that like they are willing to take artists that they can see like, yo, this kid have something, and we're willing to work with it. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple of artists on the roster that I've seen that they've really nursed and that they've really made the commitment to develop, which is again unusual for labels to do nowadays. So I can definitely say in at least UMC's case and Tough Gang's case, they're ready for that old school grind for sure.
Yeah. Your new song, your mother sent me a song that was before this new song, which I like that song. What's the name of it again? Let me play it right now. I like that new song. You came out the gate very colorful. It's called Lighter Juice.
Wait, is it lighter juice or is it souffle?
This one.
Yeah, that's souffle. Yeah.
So I like that, and I like the new joint where you following this girl with Stone Boy. She no need. She don't need.
Yes, sir.
Which is like a joining together of she don't need, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So your music is pretty woman centered. You're making music for the girls, then.
Mm-hmm. I
This
feel
is
like
this is a departure from your grandfather, your great grandfather who was making you make music for the girls, then, but that revolutionary.
right. Yeah. I feel like that's what everybody remembers Bob for is being a revolutionary. Um and I just feel like right now the women need the songs, you know what I mean? But I don't if we're to open up the vault, you'd say that not every song is woman centric. There's a lot of different moods and a lot of different themes that I explore. But I just feel like at this very moment, the woman centric songs are the most important to get out the gate first. You know what I mean? Because girl, them need the songs. They do.
All right. So you're not a Rasta man. You
No,
plan to become a Rasta man and do the whole thing?
you know what? I feel like that's a good question. I've never been asked that question. I used to have dreads. I used to have dreads at a time, but they were getting to a point where I realized, you know what? Rasta means something differently to me. You know what I mean? It means something differently to me than in North America when people dread their hair as a style. To me, that's a statement. You know what I mean? To me, that's your connection to the world on a natural and spiritual level. So the decision came, I was like, it's either I fully commit to the Rasta lifestyle or I cut off the dreads. You know what I mean? And I realized at that point in time, not for any reason, but like I was just like, you know what? If I'm not going fully for it, I have to respect my people in the Rasta community who do. So I made a decision to cut off my dreads. So if I ever grow the dreads back, that means that I've chosen that path fully. And there's still so many great things to learn from that path. But at this moment, I feel like I'm I'm learning the world. You know what I mean? I'm taking that moment to take in information from all corners. So to answer your question, no, at the moment I'm not Rasta.
Who do you listen to? Like, what's on your playlist right now?
You know what, man? I've been listening to a lot of French music. I've been listening to a lot of French music. Stromae, who I've been listening to for years. There's another artist, and I don't want to mispronounce his name. Yame, Yami. I listen to a lot of music coming out of that third genre in Jamaica, that kind of like neo reggae hip hop. So I listen to Tessellated, you know what I mean, Runkus, Zach Jones. These are artists that I really appreciate. Akina Yaman. When it comes to rappers, because I love rap music, I listen to Audrey Nuna, I listen to Baby Keem, of course, Andre 3000, Kendrick. The playlist is very scattered all over the place. It's just whatever music I feel like has something to teach me, I'm into it. You know what I mean?
I feel like you would blend well with another third generation musician. Well, he's a second generation. A guy named Beam from out of Miami, Papa San's son.
Yes, Beam. I am a fan of his music, and the conversations have come up a lot, but we've never crossed paths yet. So hopefully, me and Beam will get to chop it up. You see me?
So that's a World Music Views exclusive. King Cruff wants to work with Beam. That's the headline. Yeah. So, how would you describe your music? How would you define your music?
I feel like my music is just it's a hodgepodge, man. It's a big mix. It's obviously the foundation is hip hop because that's the music that got me started. And then when I became more melodic and I wanted to try different things, that's when I got into the reggae and dancehall. But I also grew up on funk and disco. So you know what I mean? I try and throw that in there as well. There's so many different styles and shades of music that I'm trying out. And I feel like the main thing at the end of the day is making sure that lyrical content is there, the storytelling. It doesn't have to be something massively profound every time, but it has to be something that people feel like, Jano, how did he think of that, or where that come from? You know what I mean? So that's how I would describe my music for sure.
In 5 years, where do you see yourself?
Well, you know, I love the 5 years question because I never have anything strictly envisioned. The thing for me that I want to make sure I get is longevity. I want to be able to be irreplaceable. You know what I mean? I want people to be like, Jano, we need King Cruff on this show, or we need King Cruff to make this appearance because nobody else would do it like him. So I feel like that's where I'm at in my mind. I want irreplaceable. I want to be touring the world. I want to be able to give my friends these opportunities through my opportunities. Um, I just want to keep working, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to ever stop doing music. I would love to explore other creative endeavors, but you know what I mean? We have to get somewhere first before we can go further.
Do you want a Grammy?
Do I want a Grammy? Of course, man. I don't care what any musician says. Everyone wants a Grammy. You know what I mean? And is there a Grammy in my future? I see one. But again, we have to get there.
Have you collaborated yet with Skip? Skip went platinum already. Nominated. Worked with Katy Perry. Have you collaborated with him as yet?
I've seen Skip a couple times this year. Shout out Skip. Me and Skip go way, way back. You know what I mean? That's really my cousin, you know what I mean? We did a show together in New York where I did my set early in the day, and then last minute, the man was like, yo, come on my set and just freestyle something. And I did, and that was a big moment for me, and I think a big moment for him as well. We haven't gotten in the studio as of yet. And I feel like our thought on that is that when that happens, we're just artists, you know what I mean? So I feel like our thought on that is that when that happens, it has to be right. Because the music that we make, we really define our generation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't talk for him, but I'm talking for me. So it hasn't happened as of yet, but I know it's on both of our radars.
Your construction brethren them, what am I for say about you now that you signed the deal, you're on your way? Like, what on them talk about that?
Well, you know, so I don't talk to everyone from the construction team. Some of them still come out to my shows. My big brethren, Randall Rains, he was the one that got me the job, and he does music as well. And we're on this music journey together, so I have to big him up because when I needed the money, he really came through and was like, yo, here's our thing, you know what I mean? But they're proud, man. They're proud. They don't want me to forget where I came from. One of my bosses, you know what I mean, he wasn't always a fan of me, but the other day he came to me and was like, yo, you know what? All jokes aside, the kid's doing his thing, you know what I mean? So big up the Full Tilt team, Full Tilt Concrete.
Full Tilt Concrete get big up on World Music Views. I love what you're doing. I love your music, and I wish you all the best. I believe that you're on your journey. It's a nice serendipitous meeting of your mother. Because Universal had reached out to me, and I never really paid it any mind until like I literally somebody just said something about your music, and literally when we just talked about your music, your mother walked through the door.
That's crazy.
I didn't know she was your mother because I never met her. She greeted the person I was with. The person told me, this is so and so. I'm like, King Cruff mother? I'm like, wow. It's a beautiful thing. And when I see things like those, I know that, you know, the stars align and you're on your way to doing good things, you know?
I appreciate that, bro. And you're absolutely right. You know, I don't want to get too spiritual or too like, you know, but you know, sometimes these things aren't coincidences. Sometimes these things happen for a reason. So hopefully we'll get to work together again in the future, JR. And I appreciate you making this time for me. You see me?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I hope to meet you soon. I hope to come to check out one of your shows soon and see how it's level down the place. And your music has arrived. It is the time for it. What you're doing, I can see within a year. I do World Music Views. I know music that's going to chart. I can see it from afar. I can see your music getting certified in Canada very soon. You're going to get gold plaques, platinum plaques, all of that very, very soon. Remember, I told you that. Nobody ever told you that. Remember, I told you that because I see it happening. And we're going to report it right here on World Music Views as well.
Of course, man. Anytime you need me, I'll reach back. You see me?
All right, boss. Big up, big up, big up.